what if the secret to unlocking AI wasn't really in the code, but maybe in the question itself? What if instead of just like programming machines, we were actually learning how to have better conversations with them?
Yeah, that's a fascinating way to put it.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into something that seems simple on the surface, but it's actually surprisingly human. It's called prompt alchemy, the art of asking AI the right way.
Right.
And this isn't about complex coding or anything. It's really about how you talk to AI, how you sort of shape that space where the machine meets what you intend. Picture it, maybe like having a conversation with the universe,
Yeah.
where your clarity kind of dictates the quality of the response you get back.
And that's exactly why this deep dive is, well, so vital right now. We're aiming to cut through all the noise.
Yeah.
To give you that actionable insight into a really crucial skill for, frankly, navigating the modern information landscape.
Absolutely.
And its relevance is immediate. It doesn't matter what your technical background is or if you have one at all.
Right.
Understanding this whole idea of prompt alchemy. It's about gaining that knowledge quickly, but, thoroughly. Getting those aha moments without feeling overloaded with information.
Yeah, getting you well-informed quickly.
Exactly. On a skill that's becoming, well, pretty essential.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We're going to lay out what we're calling the 6 foundational prompt techniques.
Okay.
Think of them like the basic strings on a guitar, You can pluck one individually or you can strum them all together. It really depends on the kind of symphony you want to create with the AI.
I like that analogy, the building blocks.
Exactly. They're the building blocks. And once you get a handle on them, the possibilities really open up.
Yeah.
So let's start with maybe setting the scene. The first technique. Give context.
Crucial.
Context is just king, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't send someone a text that just says, bring it.
Huh.
Not with that context, right? Unless
Yeah.
you actually want total confusion.
Right. Same idea with AI.
Yeah, same principle. The more background you give it, the better the output tends to be. So, for example, you could start with something like, you are a compliance officer reviewing DoD policies. Based on the following regulation, identify 3 compliance concerns. Pretty specific.
Very specific. And that context is crucial because it helps the AI understand the specific domain, the purpose of your request. It stops it from just giving you generic or worse, totally irrelevant responses.
But I wonder, though, is there a risk of giving, like, too much context? Or maybe even the wrong kind? Could that actually confuse the AI instead of helping it?
That's a really, really good point. A lot of people think more is always better, but it's actually about relevant context.
Okay.
If you overload it, you can run into issues like context window overflow, technically speaking, or you just dilute its focus.
Right.
And the output gets less precise. It's a balance, like setting a stage for a play. You need enough detail for the setting, but not so much you distract from the main action.
Okay, that makes sense.
The real magic happens when the context clearly defines the AI's specific role and purpose for that particular interaction.
Okay, so building on that idea of setting the stage, another really powerful technique is to show examples.
Oh, yes. Very powerful.
Do you ever try explaining like a complicated drum beat to a drummer?
Yeah. It's hard with just words.
It's way easier to just play the beat, right? Same idea with AI. Show it the kind of rhythm you're after, what you like, what you don't like.
Concrete example.
Yeah, like, here's a good executive summary, here's a bad one, now write one in the good style.
It's like learning by watching.
Exactly. It provides those concrete demonstrations, and it helps the AI grasp nuances and patterns that are sometimes really difficult to just articulate with words.
But what if the task is totally new, something the AI hasn't really seen before? Can examples still, work their magic then? Or do we kind of hit a wall?
That's where the subtlety comes in. Even for brand new tasks, examples can still show the style or the structure you want.
It's less about direct copying and more about the AI understanding the underlying, let's say, logic or even the aesthetic you're aiming for.
Gotcha.
It's a bit like how humans learn by demonstration. Sometimes seeing really is understanding, even if the scenario itself is completely novel.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of guiding the AI, we can also give it boundaries. Which brings us to the third technique, specify constraints.
Right, setting limits.
Yeah, and it sounds counterintuitive, maybe, but constraints don't always limit creativity. Sometimes they guide it.
They can actually spark it.
Exactly. Tell the AI what box it needs to play in, and it often gets surprisingly clever within those lines.
Yeah.
Think about a prompt like, use only 100 words, no bullets. Speak like a friendly professor explaining this to a 12-year-old.
That's a great example. It forces precision.
So constraints spark creativity. But when does a constraint become more like a cage? Is there a point where we, over-constrain the AI and end up stifling its potential instead of guiding it?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a fine line there. Defining boundaries, as we said, forces the AI to be precise and focused. And that often mirrors how limitations in, human creativity can lead to really ingenious solutions. We see it all the time.
Right, like writing a haiku or something.
Exactly. But if you give it excessive constraints, or worse, contradictory ones, then you can make the task impossible. The AI might just give up and produce something really generic or kind of nonsensical because it's spending all this effort just trying to reconcile the rules.
Instead of actually being creative.
Right. So it's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Guardrails that are helpful, not suffocating.
Okay, helpful, not suffocating. Got it. Moving on, the fourth technique is pretty straightforward, but really effective. Break it into steps.
Yes. Decomposition. Classic problem solving.
Yeah, we all get overwhelmed with huge problems, right? AI is kind of the same. Breaking a big task down into smaller, more manageable steps just helps it process things better.
Avoids it getting overwhelmed.
Exactly, and it provides a clear pathway. So an example might be, first summarize the main point, then identify the assumptions, then give 3 objections.
Step by step.
Makes total sense for complex stuff. But for our listeners who might already be doing this, trying to break things down, what's a common mistake they might still make, and how can they avoid it?
That's a good question. A common pitfall, even when you're breaking things down carefully, is maybe not anticipating the results of the intermediate steps. People often just look at the final output after the last step, but the AI might have gone slightly off track earlier.
And you didn't catch it.
Right. So for really complex tasks, it might be worth adding a prompt after each major step, just to review, maybe confirm the AI's work before telling it to move on.
Like a little check-in?
Exactly. It mirrors good problem-solving methods, tackle complex challenges sequentially, making the whole thing more manageable, more efficient for both you and the AI.
Okay, this next one. This one still kind of blows my mind a little. Ask it to think first.
Laugh slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it?
It really does. It sounds like we're asking this digital brain to just pause and strategize. But this technique, literally asking the AI to sort of deliberate before giving its final answer, it often leads to much better responses.
It really does.
You could say something like, list 3 potential approaches to solving this, then pick the best and explain why.
Yeah.
How does telling a machine to think actually translate into better output? Is it really doing some kind of internal deliberation?
Well, what's really insightful here, I think, is how this technique kind of mimics metacognition in humans. Thinking about thinking, planning before acting.
Right.
Now, for the AI, it's obviously not thinking like we experience consciousness, but what it does is encourage the model to, let's say, map out a reasoning process internally before generating the final output.
Like exploring options.
Exactly. It's like a pre-computation step. It forces the AI to consider multiple pathways, evaluate them in a sense, and then select what seems like the most robust one.
Which leads to better answers.
Often, yeah. More thoughtful, less surface-level answers. It kind of turns a reactive tool into something a bit more like a proactive problem solver.
Fascinating. Okay, and finally, the 6th technique. This one really brings the interaction to life. Define the role or tone.
Persona prompting. Very powerful.
Well, tone changes everything, right?
Yeah.
You talk differently to your boss than you do to your grandma or your dog.
Jekyll's, hopefully.
AI needs that same kind of clarity, so you might tell it, act as a brutally honest career coach. Be blunt, but constructive.
Ooh, I like that one.
Or, it's something completely different. You're a stoner philosopher. Explain quantum mechanics like it's a cosmic trip.
Laughs. That could be interesting.
Right. So the role and tone are obviously super powerful for personalization, but what about consistency? Like, if you're having a long conversation with the AI, does it stay in that persona? Or do you need to kind of remind it sometimes?
That's a really crucial point for longer interactions.
Yeah.
So defining the persona or tone at the start definitely aligns the output. But the AI's memory, its context window, is finite. It's not unlimited.
Right, it can forget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in very long conversations, you might notice the persona starting to drift a little, It can lose the thread.
Ah.
So it's actually good practice to maybe reaffirm the role or tone periodically. Perhaps when you start a new major part of the conversation.
Like nudging an actor back into character.
Precisely. Like an actor recentering themselves between scenes.
Yeah.
It just helps ensure the interaction feels consistently tailored and, effective.
Okay, so what does this all really mean for you, the listener? Well, when you start mixing and matching these 6 techniques we've talked about,
Giving context.
showing examples,
Specifying constraint.
breaking it into steps,
Asking it to think first.
and defining that role or tone,
Yep.
suddenly you transform these vague queries into really vivid, actionable outputs.
Yeah, the quality jump can be huge.
You go from getting those kind of bland, generic answers to responses that feel like the AI actually gets you, like
Yeah.
it understands your nuanced intention.
Hmm.
Now, here's something people often miss about this whole prompt engineering thing. It's usually not a one-shot deal.
Definitely not.
It's much more like a dynamic jam session.
I like that. A jam session.
Yeah, it's a back and forth. It's like riffing with the AI.
Yeah.
You try a prompt, right? And it kind of works, but maybe something's a little off.
Right, and not quite there.
So then you tweak it, you look at what the AI got wrong or how it maybe misunderstood your nuance, and then you adjust your phrasing.
It's an iterative loop.
Exactly. It's iterative. It's a bit like debugging code, I suppose, but sometimes it feels more intuitive or maybe emotional, even philosophical sometimes as you search for that precision.
And that iterative process often leads to what people call prompt chains.
Right. Explain that a bit.
Well, it's where the output from one prompt directly feeds into the next prompt.
Ah.
You're essentially scaffolding your way towards a final, maybe more complex result, building up layers of understanding or refinement as you go.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Like, a quick example might be starting with, summarize this report.
Okay, standard enough.
Then, using that summary, you follow up. Create 5 tweet-sized summaries from that.
Building on the previous output.
Exactly. And then you could go even further. Now, rewrite each tweet in the tone of a stand-up comic.
Chuckles. Okay, now we're getting creative. But that illustrates the chain perfectly.
Right.
And what's really exciting about this whole approach, I think, is the shift in mindset. You move from commanding an AI
And the tool.
to collaborating with it.
Mhm.
It's not always about getting the single correct answer on the very first try.
Yeah.
It's more about finding the right rhythm together through that back and forth. And finding that rhythm, for you, the user, that's where the real knowledge discovery often happens.
Like sculpting something.
Exactly, like a sculptor refining their work.
Yeah.
One chisel stroke at a time until the final form emerges. It acknowledges that understanding that creation, it's often iterative. It's not instantaneous.
Let me share a quick story that I think perfectly illustrates this kind of shift. A friend of mine, Emily, she's not a coder, not an AI at all, but she told me something interesting. She said, I thought ChatGPT was kind of dumb.
Chuckles. Okay, heard that before.
Until I stopped treating it like Google. Once I started talking to it more like a creative partner, it was like discovering a whole new language.
Wow. That's it, isn't it? The mindset shift.
That's the fundamental shift right there. The prompt isn't just about getting information anymore. It's about shaping a conversation, guiding the AI towards a specific outcome that really aligns with what you actually intend.
And Emily's aha moment, it's not just a nice anecdote. It's
Yeah.
actually a powerful illustration of cognitive reframing.
Yeah, how so?
Well, we often approach these new AI tools with our old mental models, right? Like the search engine model type query, get answer.
Right, expect perfection immediately.
Exactly. But shifting to that creative partner mindset, like Emily did,
Mhm.
it totally transforms the interaction. It unlocks potential we didn't even realize was there.
Mhm.
And this isn't just about AI, really. It's about how we learn to interact with any new complex system. And it shows how quickly we can grasp these complex ideas when they're framed through relatable, transformative experiences.
That's a great point. So here's my question directly to you listening right now, whether you're makers, thinkers, just curious folks. What was your prompt aha moment?
Ooh, good question.
When did you change how you asked? And suddenly everything just sort of opened up. We'd genuinely love to hear your story.
Yeah, definitely.
Send us a DM, maybe record a voice note. You might even end up being featured in a future deep dive. Seriously, tell us about your breakthroughs.
Yeah, share those moments.
Okay, now let's maybe zoom out a little. Let's talk about the deeper implications here.
The philosophy behind it?
Yeah, kind of. Because when we're crafting these prompts, we're not just training machines, are we? We're also training ourselves.
How do you mean?
Well, we're training ourselves to be clearer, more intentional, maybe even more curious. Prompting well means you have to ask questions with care. It forces you to really think about what you actually want, and then figure out how to precisely guide something else, whether it's human or artificial, to get there.
That's spot on. In a way, prompt engineering is really just communication engineering.
Communication engineering. I like that.
It forces us to clarify our own thoughts first, to understand our audience, even if that audience is an algorithm, and then to articulate our intent with real precision.
Yeah.
And communication, in all its forms.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally what makes us human, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's a skill that goes way beyond the screen. It enriches every interaction we have, digital or otherwise. And it really encourages that critical thinking about the whole human-AI relationship.
So if you leave with just one thing from this deep dive today, let it be this. Better prompts don't necessarily come from knowing more about code or the intricacies of AI models.
Not primarily, no.
They come from listening more, from tuning in to the AI's output, noticing the gaps, the misunderstandings, and then having the courage to just try again, to iterate towards clarity.
Embrace the iteration.
Exactly. So be bold, be weird even, be specific. Go ahead and try telling the AI. Act like a beat poet trying to explain blockchain to a squirrel.
Why not? See what happens.
See what happens. You might be surprised.
And maybe hold on to this thought for your own exploration later. Creativity often begins not with the answer, but with the question.
That's a good one to end on. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
If this deep dive sparked something for you, maybe made you think differently about talking to AI, please share it with someone. Drop us a 5-star rating or, a 5-star spell on your podcast app. It really helps.
It does.
And above all, stay curious. That next great idea, it might be just one perfect prompt away.